If you are a Canadian, if you love Canada, there is one number you need to understand. And the good news is that it isn't too difficult. Canada produces goods and services. Our workers make cars. Our farmers produce canola and chicken. Our bankers offer investment services, like bank accounts. Pretty simple so far, right? And we can measure the value of those goods and services. We can count them. In fact, Statistics Canada counts the value of all the goods and services produced in Canada each year. This number is referred to as the Gross Domestic Product, or GDP. It's a measure of how rich we are as a nation. Again, pretty simple and not at all scary, yet. The statistical agency of every country counts this number, the GDP, and that allows us to compare the GDP between countries. But before I jump into the really scary stuff, there's one more easy concept that you need to understand, and I'm going to explain it. That is GDP per capita. In 2024, Canada's GDP was 2.2 trillion US dollars, but that's just a number. What does it mean? Well, it helps us to understand that number on a per person basis, or what the complicated people refer to as per capita. In 2024, the GDP in Canada per person, or per capita, was about 54,000 US dollars. Okay, now I have everything I need to scare you. You see, the GDP per capita in the United States was not just our $54,000. It was $85,000. On average, Americans are richer than Canadians, much richer, 57% richer. Have a look at this graph. It shows a comparison of per capita GDP between Canada and the United States from 2015 to today. And this is why Canada's per capita GDP should scare you. Canada's GDP is flatlined, while the United States GDP is going up. And Canada's GDP has been flatlined for 9 years. The United States is getting richer on a per person basis, and we aren't. And that should scare you. Something happened in 2015 that hurt Canada's ability to grow our economy. Maybe we'll never know exactly what it was. But whatever it was, the last 9 years have been economically terrible for Canada. But you might think that Canada might be falling behind the United States, but maybe we're doing okay compared to other countries. But that's not so. Have a look at this chart. Lots of countries are growing their economy faster than the United States. And lots of countries are growing their economy slower than the United States. But almost all of them are growing faster than Canada. And that should scare you too. But maybe the comparison between Canada at $54,000 and the USA at $85,000 is rather abstract. So let's put up another chart that shows provinces and states in North America. Let's compare Ontario, the economic powerhouse of Canada, with the United States. It turns out that our GDP per capita is about on par with Alabama and West Virginia, two of the poorest American states. Again, that should scare you. So what are we going to do about it? And the answer is simple. We're going to hold our politicians accountable. We're going to hold their feet to the fire. Every announcement they make must be viewed through the lens of per capita GDP. Every policy, every law, every spending announcement, how is this going to grow our per capita GDP? Every time a smiling politician stands up and announces funding for a province or a jurisdiction, a project, a program, or a company, we want to know specifically, how is that going to grow per capita GDP? Not only that, we want to know if there are better options for growing per capita GDP. Politicians will always mumble something about growing the economy, but we want specifics. And we want our journalists to ask the hard questions. Per capita GDP needs to become a national obsession, and politicians, no matter which party, must become unelectable if they don't propose specific ideas for growing the per capita GDP. Politicians will deceive you. They'll talk about how the GDP is growing. Don't believe them. The GDP might be growing because of immigration, but that doesn't mean the per capita GDP, the per person GDP is growing. And if they try to deceive you, call them out on it. We've been flatlined for 9 years. It's time to change that, if not for our sake, then for the sake of our children. Let me know if you agree. Leave a comment, maybe even subscribe. It really encourages me to continue making original content.